More NASCAR content? For all the latest in NASCAR, including driver interviews, race recaps, fantasy NASCAR, listener call-in shows, and awesome giveaways, tune in to the Lap Traffic Podcast on iTunes, Podbean, or your favorite hosting site with new shows every Tuesday night. Check out Lap Traffic on the web, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, and follow on Twitter @LapTrafficPC. Don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast. See ya!
The ButtKicker Gamer 2. What you see and what you hear is what you feel. ButtKicker. The future is feeling.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. It's your Tuesday night coverage of the Full Send Racing Series. Season number 4, it's race number 3, and we head to that of Fontana, California for the 2-mile course to see how well the drivers can handle this wide open and crazy action we're expecting here tonight as drivers are getting themselves set up, prepared. They're underway with qualifying for tonight's race of that of the Berserker Industries 200 here tonight. Certainly going to be a wild one, and we're hoping that we don't see too much carnage here this evening. As for myself here tonight, my name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is Trevor Earhart, and Trevor is going to be back covering that of Full Send.
Back covering Full Send after last week's relatively caution-filled Bristol race. Excited to be here at Auto Club, much wider, pretty much 5 lanes here, so excited to see what these guys are going to put on for us tonight.
And these drivers underway, like I said, for qualifying as well. Got to give a big shout out to our producer, that of Robert Moyer Jr. in the background for us here tonight. Drivers were given a total of 5 minutes to put down their fastest lap, and they've got 2 laps to do so as the drivers are here tonight getting ready. Their first lap's going to be set, and Trevor, Auto Club track that is about to be changed up into a short track here just in a couple of years. This is the last couple of times, but it's in real life, drivers are going to be able to see this track being ran. But virtually, it is always great to see drivers hit the course here, and the trucks are putting in their first laps.
Such a fun track to race around. Super wide, super fast, pretty much wide open for the most part, and draft is going to be really important here tonight. So kind of races like a miniature Talladega, I would say. So definitely excited to see this race unfold tonight.
This is going to be the 3rd time that of the Full Send Racing Series has been here. Now this league has swapped back and forth from starting out with the Xfinity car, going to the trucks. Last season they were in the Xfinity car, and here in season 4 we are back in the trucks. And the last 2 seasons they've been here at Auto Club. We've had 2 different winners. We'll see who can get themselves into victory lane, as right now those first laps coming through. It's Kyle Carpenter leading the charge, but certainly other drivers try to find that little bit of extra speed as Philip Chavez only able to get up to 3rd place, but that is a great qualifying time for the 101.
Yeah, great lap there from Chavez as he goes 3rd fastest. Blair Patterson up there in 4th. Christopher Wade in 2nd. Nick Holland now goes to 3rd place in the 68 machine, so good lap for him. Is Chavez here on screen going for his 2nd lap, see if he can improve a little bit and get closer to the front.
It's also going to be that of Cole Sacchetti bouncing up to 4th place as a few drivers still waiting to put their times in. Even the driver to watch out for, in my eyes, going to be that of the 43 of Logan Keys, who's the fastest during practice. How fast can he be for qualifying, as Zach Hall coming around the bend for himself in this 32 machine, hoping to find a little bit of extra speed. And that last lap was a little bit slow, and he's going to be just coming up a little shy as he will come away with 8th place for the 32. But his teammate Ken Campbell now top of the board for the 15.
Yeah, Campbell to the top of the board right there with a really good lap time, puts him about a 10th quicker than that of Kyle Carpenter. The 43, though, right here on track. Logan Keys, the fastest truck in practice. We'll see if he can back that time up here and put that 43 machine on pole.
Logan Keys was not able to race last week, had a substitute come in, back and ready to ramp up. Is this 43 machine first lap going to be a little bit slower than expected, but it seems to be the case here, Trevor, of drivers taking this first lap a little bit slower. It's the 2nd lap where they're trying to maximize their speed.
Yeah, taking that first lap, getting all the speed that they can gathered up in the truck for the 2nd lap, get heat in the tires, and Really good exit there. Not a lot of wiggling out of the truck. Truck can get kind of loose on you out of turn number 2 there, but really good run out of 2 down the backstretch here, and we'll see if Logan Keys can put a good lap time in here.
Gonna be ducking it down low, trying to miss all the little bumps that are gonna be shuffling and getting this truck out of sorts. A little bit of a wiggle there on the exit of turn 4. Logan Key is gonna be one of the last drivers to put down a quality lap, and across the line for the 43. We watch the board. Where does he lie? And it's gonna be second for Logan Keys coming up. Just that, up practically 1/10 off of Ken Campbell.
So close there for Logan Keys, but what a great lap time by Ken Campbell. I mean, 1/10 quicker than that of the trucks behind him. So great lap from the 15 machine. But Sam, field's set. I think we're going to be in for one exciting race here tonight at Auto Club.
And that is Sam Siegel coming away 19th, like one of the last drivers to cross the line. As the field is done with qualifying, it's time to see where they're going to be starting here this evening. As big thanks to Game to Gives for that of the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, as it's going to be that Ken Campbell topping the board for the 15 machine. Logan Keys fastest for during practice, second fastest for qualifying. Kyle Carpenter, quick time to start out qualifying, going to fall down to third. With that, Christopher Wade fourth, Chris Stitz fifth. Andrew Medlin going to be 6th, Cole Sacchetti going to be in 7th, John Dart going to be in 8th, that of Nick Holland falls to 9th, and Cameron Sarton in the 24 going to be starting that of 10th place.
Last week's winner, Zach Hall, will roll off 11th with Philip Chavez to his outside in 12th, Blair Patterson in 13th, Will Bustler 14th, Austin Call in 15th, Ross Tatum rolls off 16th, Ryan Stenhoff in 17th, Brian Wilson 18th, Sam Siegel in 19th, and Ryan Lynch will round out your top 20.
Then in 21st position, it's going to be the 39 of Doug Pierce with Chavez Essery going to be in 22nd. Travis Dart going to be in that of 23rd position. Jonathan Casebeer going to be in 24th with Lyle Christensen in 25th. Jonathan Woods going to be in 26th position with Jason Ferre in 27th. 28th goes to that of Nick Gould with Josh Waltis in 29th. And 30th, going to be our race control of Steve Benjamin. Big thanks to Steve Benjamin for being race control and helping out for us here tonight. As the driver's about to get rolling off, Trevor, any final thoughts before we get to potentially talk to one of our drivers?
Not really. Just really looking forward to this stage break 25, lap 25 in this race. So not gonna have to worry about fuel in the first run, and I think we're just gonna see these guys hopefully take it a little bit easy. These restarts are going to be chaotic, though, so expect everybody going down into turn 1. We could see 3, 4, potentially 5 wide down into turn number 1 on these restarts, so hang on tight.
As they are waiting on everyone to be in out of their grid spot before they can get rolling, it's going to give us time to try to get some drivers' thoughts on how this race could be going. And we're going to fall pretty far down the list. But a driver that has found themselves into victory lane before, I want to get their thoughts on that of Chris Chavez Essery, on their thoughts. As the drivers are rolling, we've got hopefully the 13 in the booth with us. Chris, it's Sam and Trevor up in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, Chris, you found yourself in a victory lane at this track all the way back in that of season 2. How are you feeling on the confidence level that you might be able to get back into victory lane here tonight?
Well, it was high before qualifying, and I really just messed that all up. So I have a long road ahead of me right now.
You know, Chris, that long road ahead of you, what's going to be the key here to getting through the field early on in this race?
Early on, I think it's just going to be ripping the wall. I think a lot of these guys are going to duck it down. I'm just going to try to keep that outside, so maybe like 5-10 between there. I can really gain a lot of spots.
Well, Chris, any final thoughts before we send you back to your team?
No, I'm just trying to get as front as fast as I can.
Well, good luck, Chris. Hopefully we'll be talking to you later.
Thank you, guys.
As that is going to be a 13 machine, starting very deep in the field. He's hoping to find his way climbing through. Going to be all the way back in 22nd position. But he's got a long race to get out front. It's going to be 100 laps here tonight. Stage break at lap 25. No fast repairs. 4 extra sets of tires in pit road. And the drivers are waiting to see Barney start waving that flag as the Berserker Industries 200 here at Auto Club is green, as it's going to be seen that of Ken Campbell, as well as going to be seeing the 43 of Logan Keys rolling down into turn number 1.
And it's a good start there from Campbell as he's to the outside down into turn number 1, going to keep that truck on the high line. Keys all the way almost to the bottom, kind of running the seam there as everybody's 2x2. We see one truck go up to the wall. I believe that's the 99 of John Dart.
Hold on. It's going to be a little bit of a slide. That's going to be the 17 of Chris Stitz, somehow not overcorrecting back into the field, and the rest of the field scattering up front, still side by side with that middle pack. 3 wide at moments.
What a save there from Chris Stitz in that 17 truck. Good job not overcorrecting, but you see the field scatter out there. Cole Sacchetti up, ripping the fence, kind of like what Esri was talking about, trying to make up that time in that 42 machine as he goes, tries to move up through the field.
As you're already seeing drivers trying to slice and dice, and just in lap number 1, biggest mover up 6 positions is 74 of that of Ryan, that of Steinhoff. Cannot believe he's already up 6 spots in just 1 lap, showing how wide this track is and how aggressive you can be if you want to gain a lot of positions.
Yeah, just utilizing any open space that you can to make up that ground. Steinhoff doing a great job now as he's battling with the 101 of Philip Chavez there into turn number 3. Looks to the outside here, trying to find any clear spot that he can. Might have a good run here as Cole Sacchetti still using that outside line, but losing a little bit of time here as he might come under attack from the 101 of Chavez.
And starting to see that 42 dropping backwards, which is kind of interesting to see. You'd think that outside lane, based on what we were hearing from that of Esri earlier on, that the outside is where you want to find yourself to be to maybe close in on the gaps on everyone else. But it seems to be just a sit and wait type of position. Is the 42 and the 24 just holding steady in the middle of this pack. This is 7th on back that you're seeing all this cluster driving, while everyone else up in our top 5 just trying to pull away from the rest of the field.
The top 5 kind of single filed out. He's looking to the inside of Ken Campbell, trying to make a move there for the lead. Just doesn't have enough momentum, maybe off the corner. He's going to have to fall back in line in that 43 machine. He's got Christopher Wade right behind him, Andrew Medlin up there, and the caution's on the racetrack.
It's Nick Gould all the way on the exit of turn number 4 for the 14, as he will come to a halt. Heading into pit road is that 14 machine. And already lap number 4, first caution of the day, which Auto Club, Trevor, I mean, this track is so bipolar at times. It could be a caution-free race, or it could be a wreck fest, and hopefully this might be one of the very few cautions that we see here tonight as we're getting our replay set up. But I mean, first couple of laps there, Trevor, wasn't too bad on how drivers were getting through this field.
Wasn't too bad at all. Just a little slight scare there from Chris Stitz there in the 17 when he got loose out of turn number 2, but really easy to do on cold tires in these trucks. And not sure what happened to Nick Gould. Not sure if he got a little bit of help or if he got loose in turn 3 and 4 in that 14 machine. But yeah, really relatively calm start to a race here at Auto Club.
Yeah, it was much calmer than we were expecting, as here's going to be the replay of what brought out our first caution of the day. And going to be seeing that 14 already starting a little bit Leon out skewed is the 14 as he's trying to come down. But Trevor, that truck is already gone at this point.
Yeah, it just looks like he was loose on entry and never really got it saved. And then a little bit of contact there from Jonathan Woods in the 2 machine. Not sure how much front end damage he's going to have. Looks like Nick had a little bit of rear damage, but for the 2 machine, that could be really detrimental. Aerodynamics going to be really important here for our Daytona winner, Jonathan Woods. Not how you want to be on lap number 4.
No, not at all. As going to be an early caution and allow these drivers to come into pit road for some. That Nick Gould going to be coming into pit road. Did take tires for the 14 machine. Jonathan Woods, as well as that of Chris Essery, both coming into pit road. Interesting to see both of them come in. Repairs, obviously, for the 2 that we saw on that incident. For the 13, looks to be also a little bit of front end damage that he collected during that run.
You got to get all that fixed with how important aerodynamics are going to be here tonight. Having that little bit of front end damage can be so detrimental, especially if you end up losing the draft. You'll end up losing more time not having that truck fixed. So those guys coming in and getting that damage, as much of that repaired as they can.
Went back and checked on my own. That of 13, there was a lot of checkups in the middle of the field, and he got some major front end damage. That of Chris Essery in the 13 was hoping to get his second win here at Auto Club, and it looks to maybe be snuffed out in the early going. I mean, Trevor, you're not wanting early damage, especially on lap 5 of a 100-lap race. Doesn't seem like a lot of laps, but here at Auto Club, it certainly feels like a lot.
Yeah, with a lot of front end damage and 100 laps, they can go from feeling like it's going to be a relatively quick race to feeling like a very long, grueling race if you're stuck with a lot of damage. So unfortunate there for Essery, Jonathan Woods, and Nick Gould getting that early damage here in the race.
as the driver is getting stacked up and ready to go for our first restart of the evening. Want to give a big shout out as we're in our first caution to one of our major sponsors here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, and that of iRacing iFlag. iRacing iFlag has themselves great products to allow you, the driver, to be able to access the maximum speed out of your machines, also allowing you to have the most awareness on what's going on track in front of you or around you with their iFlag virtual flag system. Great system to have. It is patented. If it doesn't have iRacing iFlag on it, then it's not the best product for you, as well as their digital pit board that can give you great data on how to progress through your races in a clean and efficient manner. Go head over to iRacingIFlag.com and use our promo code FreakyFast2022 today as the drivers head down into turn number 3. I mean, Trevor got a little bit of a run there. What are you expecting on this restart for these drivers?
I think we're gonna see a lot of the same thing. We're gonna see probably the front 3 or 4 or 5 kind of single file out and have their own little battle, and everybody behind them kind of have their own battles. And once they get that settled out, I think we'll see everybody bunch back up here and see how this race plays out until we get to the stage break at lap 25.
All drivers back out on track that started this race, and they're all on the lead lap as the pace car pulls off. Again, biggest mover so far is that 74 back in 7th place of Ryan Senoff. Biggest loser so far is Chris Stitz back in 19th position. He's hoping to climb through the field as we're back to green action.
And a great restart there from the teammates Ken Campbell and that of the 12 of Andrew Medlin with a great start. Jumps the 43 of Logan Keys, so Keys loses 1 spot here down in turn number 1. The battle's going to be for 4th, though, between that of Christopher Wade and Nick Holland. They're going to be side-by-side on the corner exit, and Kyle Carpenter in tow.
A great launch for that of Logan Keys. A little bit of a shimmy from Andrew Medlin, allowing the 43 to get side-by-side for 2nd place. And you see him side-by-side down into turn number 1. Gonna be seeing that 12 trying to pinch and not allow the 43 to get on by, but he's already clear and gone. Here comes the crossover move. The 12 drifting up to the wall, not able to get to the outside, and now side drafting his way forward. And the teammates, alliances, gotta be nice to have one in front of you.
Gotta be nice to have that one in front of you. Come down and get that little bit of draft help down the front straightaway, but Keys with a really deep entry into turn number 1. We're gonna try to use that outside line, that momentum to clear the 12 of Medlin, and he's gonna do that. The 68 of Nick Holland side by side with that of Christopher Wade had a really good run, but he gets blocked down the backstretch by the 12 of Medlin, and he loses time. And now Logan Keys with that run goes to the inside of Ken Campbell for the lead.
Big thing with the draft, it allows you to go for these big dive bomb moves, and that's exactly what we just saw there on screen. Logan Keys to the lead, and as we're riding on board with the 53 of Christopher Wade, getting great shots of how the drivers are trying to draft with one another in line. But it's going to be, again, poking and prodding on where you want to place yourself to make these passes. As for the lead, once again, it's Ken Campbell dropping to the inside.
Campbell trying to go for the crossover move down into turn number 1. Going to try to pull a slide job here on the 43 at Logan Keys. Can't quite do it as Keys pinches him down. Going to have that momentum down the back straightaway and clear the 15 machine again. But Campbell looking to get that lead back, not wanting to give it up too easily here to Logan Keys. He's going to have another look down here into 3 and 4.
Going to be trying to look to the inside, and the inside lane looks to be strong, but you need a big enough run through the straightaway, allowing the draft to really help you propel yourself and do a dive bomb move. 15, he settles in, expecting probably try to find some extra speed somewhere, but a driver that was cruising, that was Nick Holland. He seems to be stalling out as we look behind and riding on board with that of Kyle Carpenter. Staying low, the 68 still trying to rip that outside lane, just not working as well as it was in those first couple of laps on that restart.
It just looks like Nick's not getting the drive off the corner exit like he was hoping to, losing a little bit of time allowing Kyle Carpenter to close in, but these two losing a little bit of time to our leaders as they try to catch the tail end of them, which is the 53 Christopher Wade, but they're going to be side by side here coming out of turn number 4 is Carpenter with a really good run on that inside line, and he's going to take it all the way to the apron here on the 68 machine. Those two slowly, Sam, though, starting to catch our top 4 trucks.
Trying their best as we're getting shots of what it's like in the middle of the pack. Drivers stacking on top of one another as we are on board with that of the 9 machine and getting senses of how everyone is trying to survive through this field. And all little aspects, this middle pack of the field, they are still too wide and trying to find any extra space to move forward. Trying not to clobber one another at the same moments.
That's so easy to do with the runs that you can generate off the corners and with the draft help. It's so easy to just run up on the truck behind you or maybe slide up just a little bit too much. And you can see here on board with Ryan Wilson just how clustered everybody is here, all the movement these guys are making, trying to get that little bit of help that they can down these straightaways.
And also behind drivers side by side, still trying to work with one another with the drafting aspect through that of the straightaways. But Trevor, I mean, the corners, seems to be everyone searching for any clean air. I mean, how important, one, we've already seen drivers get into damage. How is that damage going to affect them while we're seeing this driving action on track?
And it's going to hurt their straightaway speed. It's going to make the trucks a little bit tight. There was a little bit of contact there. Not quite sure which two trucks those were, but a big wiggle in the middle of that pack. I believe it's the 18 of, maybe it was the 18, yeah, of Austin Call, and the 17 of Stitz had a little bit of contact there, but great save from them. But that damage, it's going to make the truck a little bit tighter, a little more tight than what it already is in this dirty air. And it's just going to hurt drivers down the straightaway. So definitely want to avoid any, front end damage, any side damage to these vehicles as much as possible.
Everyone either staying down below at the white line or staying all the way onto the outside wall in every other position. We're 13 laps in, stage break at the end of lap 25. And all these drivers, their ultimate goal is to get up to that 10th place, which this group, it's right in front of them. It's the one machine of Will Bustler that they're all trying to get by for that one extra bonus point. And honestly, all the drivers that are in this pack still have an opportunity for that bonus point.
Yeah, still have a great opportunity for that bonus point, or a couple if they can close in on the 74 of Stenhoff and then 24 of Cameron Sarton, not too far ahead of them, along with Zach Wallace. Zach's making pretty decent progress through the field. Hasn't gone quite at the pace that Stenhoff did early on, but Zach now starting to move up through the field, as I think Stenhoff might be feeling the effects of being that aggressive early on in the race, starting to fall back in that 74 machine.
Starting to fall back just a little bit, and now going to be seeing different drivers taking over the crown of the biggest movers so far. That's going to be the 26 machine of Travis Dart up there in 12th place, who's our biggest movers right now, up 11 positions and trying to continue on that march going forward.
And doing a really good job in that for that of Travis Dart, slow and steadily working his way through the field. Is right in front of him. Again, Cole Sacchetti all the way to the outside wall. He hasn't really left that top line this race at all. One of the few consistent drivers has been running the wall on both ends of the racetrack. So interesting to see that from Cole Sacchetti. Everybody kind of been migrating toward the bottom or the middle of the racetrack. But again, the 42 all the way up to the wall is Travis Dart and Will Bustler in the one battle it out as they take two different lines. But Dart going to have that draft help from the 42 as Sacchetti down the front stretch.
An auto club's so wide, and we're seeing all these different lanes that are being ran, but what are those true advantages for these drivers on which lane you're picking through the corner? Because it seems like everyone's deciding to stay in line on those straightaways.
Well, the bottom line is going to be the shortest way around the track, easiest on the tires, going to help you, save the tires, not build up a lot of heat into them. The middle line, a little bit more momentum based. If you can get a really good entry and exit, can really help you down the straightaways. The outside line is going to be the quickest in the short run, as it allows you to really keep the momentum all the way around the racetrack. But in the long run, going to burn up those rear tires and make the truck a little bit looser on corner exits. So something that they're definitely going to have to be careful of. And honestly, after the first 5 or 6 laps, isn't really going to be that big of an advantage speed wise for these drivers.
As those are the different ways that you can try to approach this track. You're seeing on screen, that's going to be the 18 of Austin Call. Austin Call has looked strong in these last week at Bristol, was up front looking like one of the challengers. Caught up in a massive wreck, though, where this 18's hoping for some better luck going into tonight's race. But all the way back in 18th place, gonna need some more help if he wants to make it to the end of this run. But certainly all drivers thinking about the end of this stage. We're less than 10 laps to go for these drivers. Is up front, they are still dueling that of Logan Keys, Ken Campbell. They've swapped back and forth a couple of times, but now they're starting to see some action behind them, as that of Nick Holland, Christopher Wade. They're side by side as what once was just the group of 6. Still everyone's swapping in their positions in that top 6, but watch out for the 24, that of going to be Sarton. He is on the charge up to 6th position.
Yeah, and right behind Cameron Sarton, last week's winner, Zach Hall, has now caught this lead group. So our lead group went from that of about 6 trucks to now that of 8 trucks, as these guys all close in on one another. Almost a little bit of contact there between Andrew Medlin and Christopher Wade. Ken Campbell with a big dive to the apron here, trying to get a good run on Cameron Sarton and that of Nick Holland.
And trying all the different ways to build up that speed to look for that ball move as picking and choosing who you're going to be working with as that of Nick Holland goes all the way up to the wall trying to find a little bit more fresh air as Carpenter drifts up almost in front of the 24. And that 32 is just stuck in no man's land on the inside. No drafting assistance. He's got to find a hole to move back up into.
Yeah, didn't have any draft help there after Carpenter was able to clear the 24 of Sarton. Zach Hall dives it in, gets clear of that of Nick Holland, so now he's going to be able to drift up behind that of Cameron Sarton and have that draft help as up front. Campbell finally wrestles the lead away from Logan Keys. Now Keys under pressure from Andrew Medlin and Christopher Wade.
6 more laps to go before stage break. Top 10 drivers get those bonus points, and right now, the driver that is holding off of that 10th place position, still that Cole Sacchetti, but we're keeping our eyes up front because our lead pack, they are getting closer and closer to one another, and that means there is more drama about to be building up, especially with how tight we're seeing this side drafting being between that of Christopher Wade on the inside, also Logan Keys and Medlin almost thinking about forcing the issue in the middle.
Logan Keys got into the outside wall a little bit on corner entry to turn number 3, got that 43 machine a little bit sideways there. He's going to lose a little bit of time here to that of Christopher Wade, and Andrew Medlin now drops down. Kyle Carpenter drops down. They're going to leave that 43 machine out to dry on that outside line down the front stretch.
Getting left on his lonesome there on that front stretch, but watch out for the back stretch. We might be seeing that of the 24 try to work with the 43 as drivers trying to assist one another. Christopher Wade now up to 2nd place. Looking at the times, Kyle Carpenter, one of the fastest drivers on track, up in our top 5 as he is up to 4th place, but he's still got a couple of more passes to go before he could truly start to challenge our leader.
Just cleared the 43 of Logan Keys. Now going to try to run down the 12 of Medlin. Keys still holding up this backpack here as Sarton looks to the inside. Zach Hall stuck with nowhere to go. Stenhoff has caught back up to this lead pack. He's now going down to help the 24 of Cameron Sarton get by the 43. Zach Hall with a big shove to the head of Logan Keys down the front stretch. These guys are getting racy back here for 5th position, trying to figure out who's going to go where.
Where do you go? And you just see the lone driver on the outside. That, of course, Sacchetti. He is slowly marching forward. He's been the bubble driver for this whole entire run practically, and he might be a factor to watch out for as his consistency on the outside looking good as the drivers continue to race on. We are seeing how they're running, but you see that yellow and black machine. Cole Sacchetti got into the outside wall and has lost 5th place to Will Bustler.
Yeah, just got caught up behind Stenhoff. Stenhoff drifted up a little bit, didn't really put Sacchetti in the wall, but Sacchetti kind of made a late move, tried to get to the outside of him, got into the outside wall, lost a lot of time, but back up front, damn, it's a battle for the lead. It's Christopher Wade now attacking that of Ken Campbell to the outside, coming out of turn number 2.
Going to the outside, the biggest problem, though, he does not have teammate assistance. It's going to be Ken Campbell, Andrew Medlin staying in the draft, and that of Kyle Carpenter also trying to just build up that speed to enter an attack. But Christopher Wade, it's through the corners where he needs to clear the pass if he's going to have this lead at the stage break.
They're trying to get that pass cleared, gets him cleared. Medlin goes up to try to draft with Ken Campbell. Campbell's going to come up behind Christopher Wade to get that draft. Carpenter's just going to say, I don't need teammate help. I'm going to go to the inside here and see what I can do as he dives it to the inside of the 12 of Medlin. But here comes the 32 of Zach Hall, teammates with Medlin and Campbell. He's getting into the mix. Cameron Sarton to his outside.
Cameron Sarton and Zach Hall both up 5 positions from where they started, and now a part of this lead pack that is starting to pull away as we are coming to the white flag here when they cross the line for our stage break. And it's going to be that of Christopher Wade, Ken Campbell, Andrew Medlin, Kyle Carpenter, that of Cameron Sarton, Zach Hall, all in the fray of potentially making a big move as they're all stacked up. Our top 6 within a half a second of one another, and it's Carpenter diving it all the way down to the apron, no one following him, and as you see the power of the draft, everyone passes the 77 practically.
Yeah, just no draft help down there, not sure. You know, it could have come up, got a little bit of side draft help, decides to go all the way to the apron, going to be side by side with Zach Hall. That's going to be the battle for 5th position with those 2 drivers up front. Wade trying to pull away from that of Ken Campbell. Medlin not close enough to really help his teammate down the back straightaway to get closer to the 53 machine, but he's got Cameron Sarton trying to push him. But it looks like Christopher Wade, if he can get a good exit here, is going to be our stage winner.
I mean, Christopher Wade has looked strong. He's got Ken Campbell behind him. Both these drivers we've seen in other leagues perform so well as teammates. here tonight. They're going to be 1-2 for themselves as everyone ducks it down low, hoping to gain any position possible. Not going to be able to do so, and that will be our stage break here this evening. And Trevor, we look at the board. There are a few drivers I'm surprised that are outside of the top 10. Logan Keys fell from the lead all the way down to 11th place. And for that of Cole Sacchetti, he was that bubble driver for so long, but got into the outside wall, entering 3 about 4 laps ago. And that dropped him all the way outside of the top 10. No bonus points for both of those drivers.
Yeah, and same thing with Cole Sacchetti. I mean, he got in that outside wall, the same as Logan Keys, so I'm not sure how much right side damage either one of those drivers are going to have. But damn, that was just 25 laps. We still have another that of 75 laps left in this race, and if that's what we're going to see in the first 25, I'm looking forward to the rest of this race.
I mean, I am too, and also with the fact that after this stage break is done, there's no more stages. That means the potential of green flag pit stops. That's going to change a lot of things, because this race last season was based off of fuel mileage on seeing that Joshua Altus get to victory lane. Now, for Joshua Altus, he has slowly been making his way forward. Again, he is substituting for that of Charles Hugel. He's going to be back in that of 14th place, but certainly we're starting to see drivers moving their way forward, and our biggest mover so far is that of Joshua Altus. But a big shout out to that of Travis Dart, getting that last bonus point and moving up from 23rd position to 10th place. Great job for himself. As here's our top 10 rundown as they're entering pit road. Getting those bonus points going to be Christopher Wade, Ken Campbell, Andrew Medlin, Cameron Sarton, Zach Hall, that of Kyle Carpenter, Ryan Stenoff, as well as Will Bustler and Nick Holland. Those are going to be your drivers in the top 9, with Travis Dart taking that final position. Everyone into pit road. Not a surprise to see that factor for themselves. Tires, fuel, but Trevor, you could still lose or gain a lot as drivers getting ready to hit their boxes.
Yeah, still lose or gain a lot. Slide through your box, have to back up. That'll cost you a couple seconds. And, you know, maximizing the time down pit road. I mean, you can get away with speeding just a little bit. So it's about how aggressive do you want to be, and how aggressive do you want to be leaving your box. I mean, that could really, you know, gain or cost you a couple spots here as these drivers start to get the work done on their trucks.
Getting their work done as going to be their first set for the majority of this field of tires. They're going to have 3 more sets to work with later on in this race. Immediately taking off is going to be Ken Campbell with that better pit stop, because he had the pole. He had the first pit box, and all he had to do was just drive straight, as Christopher Wade had to go around, losing just a small bit of time. And that is what's going to lose the 53 from having that control position, which, I mean, Trevor, that's going to be something to watch out for of on this restart. Is that going to hurt the 53, or is it going to be all right with where he's standing?
You know, it very well could, because Andrew Medlin looks like he's going to come off pits and pit road in 3rd. And, you know, the start of the race and on that first restart, we saw Ken Campbell choose the outside to be with his teammate of Andrew Medlin. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Campbell, again, is going to line up with Medlin behind him, and they're going to time this restart and have a pretty good advantage over that of Christopher Wade.
That should be a pretty good restart for themselves, as we're going to wait for the drivers to go on by. Due to the fact that of Christopher Wade is going to be the second driver in line, want to make sure everyone is in the position they want to be once they cross the line and get themselves lined up for this restart. But expecting the 53, we're going to try to call them up into the booth as the lights are off. They're stacking up where they want to be, and it looks like the inside lane for that 53 as we pull up that of Christopher Wade to get his thoughts on this restart. Christopher Wade, stage winner. Hugh, you got us. It's Sam and Trevor up in the booth.
All right, man. How's it going, man, guys?
It's doing pretty well. Found yourself winning the stage, man. How are you feeling getting those 10 extra bonus points?
Oh, man, it's feeling pretty good. We'll see if we can't keep this up. I'm a little fan of the high side. I won here before when not, but the iRacing does all kinds of updates. But it seems you can defend on the outside, so we'll see how it goes.
You know, Chris, the battling up front's been back and forth with everybody. I mean, what are your plans here for these next 74 laps or so?
We're going to have to play it by ear, pretty much how I usually do it. And I can't even remember when the fuel window is. I don't think we can make it to the end. There's going to be another pit stop, I'm pretty sure, but we're just going to have to see how it goes, and hopefully we can stay up here with these guys.
Our math shows that there probably will be another pit stop, but we'll let you focus on that here, Chris. We'll send you back to your team, but good luck here tonight.
Thank you, guys.
As that's going to be side-by-side racing driver, the 53 of Christopher Wade. As, again, he doesn't really have teammate help. He's going to need some of his teammates to start moving up in the field to start helping him. As Ken Campbell, on the other hand, he's got all of his teammates in his wings ready to help this 15 get to victory lane as the green flag is out. And we're ready to take on another stint here as the Berserker Industries 200 at Auto Club is green down into turn number 1.
It's a great start there by Ken Campbell in the 15. Interesting, though, went with the outside line, which is what he's done on the previous restarts, but didn't go, elected not to start in front of his teammate of the 12 of Medlin, but a great start nonetheless for him. Carpenter now with a really good run.
Oh, God, no! Driver's wrecking and flipping. That was the 26. Upside down, and pandemonium strikes as driver still trying to whoa up. And our second on-track incident brings out a yellow. Oh, my goodness, Trevor.
So Travis Dart, you saw it on screen there toward the end. The 26 goes flipping Sam down the backstretch, and just like that, what was a great stage for the 26 of Dart goes down dramatically. It looks like Chavez gets loose on cold tires on corner exit, hits the 26. Stenhoff's involved, Bustler involved, and oh, what a carnage down the backstretch.
Vicious hit there as all from Philip Chavez getting loose, came down, clipped the 26, and away it went. A driver scattering everywhere. The 101 still going down. Going to make even more contact with other drivers. I believe that's Blair. Cannot confirm as both that of, oh, and they collect even more drivers into one another. That's the 8 machine of K-Spear. K-Spear just unlucky again for another week with more contact. And the drivers with required damage coming to pit road. Going to be one of our biggest movers to start this race off. Ryan Stenhoff, as well as Philip Chavez, Travis Dart, and Will Bustler, all having to come into pit road. As we're riding on board with Dart here to get his point of view. Hits, reacts, and goes on his roof. That is not what you want to be seeing out of your windshield.
It's just such a helpless feeling when you get clipped in the right rear and there's nothing you can do about it, and just into the wall. Stenhoff nowhere to go. Drives under the rear end of the 26 of Dart, sends Dart up and over, and everybody trying to scatter out of the way. K-Spear gets clipped after after he gets run into there, and everybody's scattering. Thankfully here at Auto Club, pretty wide track, so you can tend to get away from the wreck pretty well, but Chavez trying to get it saved makes a little bit more contact with a couple more drivers there as everybody scatters to get away.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the way that Philip Chavez reacted there. Thought he probably... I would imagine something's broke with the way that thing was moving, but oh man, hard contact, biggest wreck so far. 4 drivers with required damage, and Travis Dart, who we were praising in those first 25 laps of this race, well, throw it out the window. His race is done. Last place for the 26.
Just unfortunate. What a great start to the race there for Travis, and just unfortunate that right after your first lap after the stage break, get caught up in an incident like that. And it was you were right, it was the 91 of Blair Patterson that got clipped by Chavez that went down into K-Spears. So just unlucky for those guys, but we'll re-rack it, see what happens. But Sam, you got to be careful on these cold tires. They will get loose on you. We saw it, on the start of the race with Chris Stitz. We saw it with the 14 of Nick Gould when he got loose 4 laps into the run, and right there with Chavez. So these drivers are going to have to kind of tiptoe around for the first couple laps, build some heat into these tires.
Oh, absolutely. You have to figure out how to keep yourself out of trouble at this point. But again, like we noted on, the helpless feeling that Travis Dart had. He was just running his own line. Then in the next moment, he's facing directly into the outside wall, and his race is done. So all these drivers also have to recognize this race could be over in an instant. It doesn't really matter how secure you feel unless you're the leader, which Ken Campbell, once again, seems to be setting up for the outside for himself on this restart. But we talked about the fact that he didn't have a teammate on that last restart. Well, he will have one. It's going to be Zach Hall in 32 right on his rear end.
Is Zach Hall now going to line up there in that 3rd spot? So he's going to be behind Ken Campbell. Kyle Carpenter, though, up to 2nd after he was able to get around that of our stage winner, Christopher Wade. So excited to see what the 77 is going to be able to do here on this restart. And then Sarton's up there now into 5th. Joshua Alt is up into 8th, and Chris Stitz, after his little foray on the first lap, has made his way back into the top 10.
I mean, Chris Stitz always going to be a driver to watch out for. He came in second for the championship last season, following in the footsteps of seeing that Ross Tatum find himself in victory lane and winning the championship at the end of season 3. Hasn't been the strongest start for that Stitz, but hoping for a recovery run. 10th place is where he finds himself, as it's going to be Ken Campbell, Kyle Carpenter, Zach Hall, that Christopher Wade, that Cameron Sarton, and Andrew Medlin. Your top 5 ready to get rolling here for the Berserk Industries 200 at Auto Club. Second on-track incident, bring out a yellow. Our other caution was our stage break at lap 25. And now it's time to see, will we see another big one, or will these tires hold steady underneath these drivers as the pace car is off and they get into the Geico restart zone, and we're back to green flag action here tonight. And it's the Freaky Fast Racing teammates already bump drafting their way down into turn number 1.
Great team communication there between those two as they great restart, able to jump that of Carpenter and move Zach Hall up to second. Campbell, though, looking dominant so far early on in this race. The 15 machine pulls out to about a 3-truck lead over his teammate Sarton, trying to find a way around that of Carpenter, going to give him a big shove down the backstretch as Wade battles it out, actually clears that of Andrew Medlin. So Wade back to 5th after restarting the stage break in 2nd.
Yeah, I mean, falling down, but it's not the worst thing in the world, especially due to the fact that we were seeing those drivers that kind of just lingered. They weren't in the worst spot. They were able to recover, come back into this race. It's going to be about how can you save those tires for the long run. And drivers are certainly trying their best. As up front, a lot of single file racing. It's the drivers that are outside of the top 15 that are side by side, and some even being 3 wide. But that of Ken Campbell looking strong, leading and pulling away. Trevor, I'm concerned for Ken Campbell. He had such great restarts and pulling away. I mean, he's better hope that he can find a way to save his tires, or he's just trying to get away from the draft.
Maybe trying to get away from the draft a little bit, but you definitely got to save those tires. We saw, kind of how important it was for those guys in the long run that were able to save a little bit, were able to close that gap, especially, Cameron Sarton, Zach Hall, Cole Sacchetti was able to get back up there before he unfortunately got into the outside wall. So saving a little bit of tires is going to be important for these guys, but Campbell, just in that clean air, is going to have that advantage. He's not going to be stuck, in the dirty air. That truck getting tight on him is 3 wide behind him. It's Travis Stark, Altus, and Brian Wilson. They're 3 wide. Now Altus is going to shoot it up the middle between that of Nick Holland and Chris Stitz. That 30 machine on the move down the backstretch.
Biggest mover so far, decided not to put down a qualifying time, was that Joshua Altus, as he is now up 22 positions, started in last place. His 30 machine, he is trying his best to get up front as he sees the top 6 that have been dominating so far this race. Put his hat into the fray to see how he can run. But at this time, 37 laps in, it's going to be still Ken Campbell leading the way. But Trevor, we started to see a little bit of friction as that of Brian Wilson trying to duck it to the outside.
Wilson to the outside, looking to get around the 68 of Holland. He's got the 13 of Chris Essery. He's up there now after that little bit of front end damage that he had early on. He's made it up almost into the top 10. Trying to work that outside line like he talked about, trying to go up to the wall, see if he can generate a run. Logan Keys trying to make his way back in. We lost one Dart, but John Dart's still up there almost into the top 10. He's looking to work that 99 machine back into the top 10, but everybody moving around on the front stretch, trying to find any little bit of help or speed that they can to get around the driver in front of them.
Yeah, they're trying everything right now, and these are all drivers trying to crack into the top 10 or inside of the top 10. And once again, 2-3 wide action. And it's going to be that middle lane that just seems to be so much stronger than everywhere else. I mean, sure, it seems like the outside maybe a little bit too long around the track. They're not getting as big of a run as they're expecting. That inside lane just costing too much speed. But the middle lane looks perfect at this early portion of this run.
Yeah, the middle lane kind of a sweet spot. Be able to keep the momentum up. No, not really, putting a lot of wear on the tires. That outside line not really getting the run that we were potentially thinking it was going to have. And then that inside line, you kind of get pinched off on the bottom, especially if you're to the inside of somebody, not letting the truck drift out to the wall, not really being able to carry that speed. So that middle line right now, I think, is the place these drivers want to be. Is a battle for second. Heats up and is over just like that. Christopher Wade back to second. Zach Hall now kind of stuck in the sucker hole in the middle. He's got Altus to his inside. Carpenter thought about taking it 3 wide, but Cameron Sarton with a big shove in the back of that 30 truck down the backstretch.
Talking about battling for second place, back to that of 8th. All starting to pile up as, oh, what a save by Stitz again as he's trying to hold on. And the 17 in the middle and everyone avoiding. Hold on, there goes Jonathan Woods, going to be forced it 4 wide. Somehow we stay green, and what a save by the 17, the second big save. But he doesn't have a stage to bring him back up to this group. He's gonna need a caution if he's gonna get back racing to this top 10.
Stitz, twice. 2 great saves on his part. He's got to feel a little bit frustrated in that 17 machine. Worked out his way all the way back up inside the top 10. I think it was a little bit of contact with Chris Essery that sent that 17 for a half spin in 3 and 4, but what a great job hanging on to that. Everybody doing a good job getting around him and not causing a pile up. But man, now Stitz all the way back into 19th has a lot of work to do, a lot of work ahead of him if he wants to get back up there to the top 10.
Once again, the driver all the way on that. We've seen, pictures of drivers running up front, trying not to apron, but everyone else recognizing outside lanes where you want to be. And you look further into the field, some drivers are dealing with some heavy damage. Gonna be that of Ryan Lynch. He was caught up in that wreck that I talked about with seeing someone getting into front of damage of Chris Essery. He ran into the 3 machine. You can see he's beaten and battered, as well as other drivers that are dealing with some issues. We saw that at the 8 of K-Spear caught up in some wrecks. But gotta say, Blair Patterson, he is really struggling with the damage that he picked up from the big wreck.
And Patterson struggling back there along with him, the 42. Cole Sacchetti just right ahead of Blair Patterson. That 42 machine hasn't really been the same since he bounced off the wall. Ross Tatum, back there in 20th position, right behind that of Stitz. I really haven't heard much from last season's champion, Ross Tatum, at all tonight, as he's kind of just been back here in no man's land. And then further up the field, you got that of Sam Siegel, Nick Gould battling with each other for 15th. Nick having a pretty decent rebound after his little spin on lap number 4. Carpenter in the 77 machine not too far in front of them. So just everybody trying to sort their way out, work their way through the field, but a lot of hard battle in there in the mid-pack.
You're connected with the draft. It's our top, that of 22. They're all within about 3.5 seconds of one another in the draft. So massive at this course. And also, it's the draft that's allowing Ken Campbell and Christopher Wade to continue to stay 1-2, as that of Joshua Altus, as we were going through the field, flirted with the lead. He had a bumper ahead for a couple of seconds, but was not able to hold strong for a pass. As some drivers, though, back in 5th place, have to be careful. That outside wall, kind of shocked how much it's starting to poke out, and drivers making contact either on the exit or the entry here, Trevor. Not sure on why those drivers are hitting the wall. It could be on the fact that everyone's so boxed in, but it's interesting to see with how wide this track is.
It's so easy to do. You really want to get a good arc down into turn number 3, or into 3 and 4, and that safer barrier kind of comes off the wall down the backstretch, and you don't really realize how much it kind of sticks out, and it'll just reach out and grab you out of nowhere if you're not paying attention to it. So something really easy to do, especially when you're trying to get every little thing or every little bit of speed out of these trucks as you can.
Trying to get every little speed out. This is going to be 4th and 5th place. Cameron Sarn getting a great shove by the 9 of Brian Wilson, and Wilson certainly has made some very daring passes, trying to slice his way through the field. Up to 5th place is our rookie, and certainly been looking strong for himself, being where he's at in 5th place. But man, every lap, it's still blowing my mind. Kyle Carpenter is relentless on trying to go all the way down to the apron.
Yeah, trying to get all the way to the apron has cost him a lot. He was up there in our top 5, and now that 77 machine all the way back to down in 12th. So just showing you not having that draft help down the front stretch really hurting the 77 machine, is now he's under attack from the 68 of Nick Holland, who Nick was running that outside line for the first little bit after that last caution, but now choosing to go to the bottom line to see if he can make up any ground.
Trying to find different lanes, and what once was working earlier in this race certainly could change up on where you're feeling confident now, especially on the fact of we're seeing a bunch of newcomers that are up inside of our top 15. I mean, you look at this group in front of us, a driver we don't really talk about that often up in our top 15 unless we're at a super speedway track. 39, Doug Pierce, what a run for this 39 machine.
Yeah, he's having a great run. Had a little bit of contact early on down the backstretch, but doing a really great job in the 39 machine as he tries to close in on the backup. I believe that's Chris Essery in the 13 in front of him. That's going to be the battle for the 10th position. Essery's made his way into the top 10, but these guys right on the tail end of that, pretty much 5th on back here to about that of 15th position, all nose to tail, trying to figure out who can get around who can you go with, who can you trust to give you a little bit of a push to maybe get ahead of that guy in front of you.
Trying to get movement, so kind of place yourself in another position. But man, it is great to see some of the movement that we're seeing right now. And then also in front of them is going to be that of the 99, John Dart. I mean, got to talk about, you know, the kudos of the 39. This 99 looked great last week at Bristol. He's caught up in some late wrecks that forced him out of a finish that he was really hoping for. But hey, tonight, the 99 up to 9th place.
Yeah, started up there in 8th, so only back one spot from where he started. Got way wide on the start of the race, lost a bunch of positions. Did John, but doing a really good job working his way back through the field. Fans out in front of him. Zach all going with the move to the inside of Logan Keys, but John just slow and steadily working his way back up through the field, up here into the top 10, trying to follow Andrew Medlin to see if they can get a couple more spots.
That's for right now. Biggest mover is Joshua Altus in 3rd place. Next biggest mover of drivers inside of our top 10 going to be that of the rookie of Brian Wilson. And this 9 trying to stay attached to the 24 of Cameron Sarton. And Sarton seems to be starting to make that move forward, as well as Zach Hall. I mean, we saw this driver at the end of the stage where drivers that were lingering and being patient, they started to make that move at our leaders. And I think this might be the time for them.
This might be the time. You got Sarton moving forward, Zach Hall moving forward after he lost a couple of spots on that restart. Wilson just kind of all glued to the rear bumper of Cameron Sarton as they try to make their way back up to the leaders. John Dart now looks to the inside of Logan Keys. Keys made his way almost back into the top 5, but might have used up his tires a little bit too much now as he's starting to fall back through the field and see what he can do. And then back here behind them, you've got Nick Holland, Doug Pierce, Chris Essery, and that of Kyle Carpenter all trying to work their way through the field. And a little slow truck there on the apron causes a little bit of a stack up for these guys in the middle of 3 and 4.
Yeah, trying to get by that of Will Bustler, who has spent quite a few laps trying to get repairs done. Currently 2 laps down. And as well, other drivers that are a lap down. Philip Chavez, 15 laps down, but at least got back on a track. Same for that of Ryan Stenhoff, back out on track, but they are multiple laps down. 15 laps down for Philip Chavez, 16 laps down for Ryan Stenhoff. And Travis Dart, the only driver officially out of this race. We got 25 drivers on the lead lap, but they're starting to space out as we are halfway here this evening. Drivers talked about it with talking to our stage winner, Christopher Wade. He wasn't sure about when pit stops were going to happen. We're expecting them to happen at any moment now, at least in the next 20 to 30 laps, as drivers are given the indication by that of race control. They're halfway, which means for us in the booth, we're going to take a quick break. As the drivers get to race around, we are going to step aside, going side by side, but you won't miss a thing for the Full Send Racing Series. It's the Berserker Industries 200 at Auto Club. The stage break is done, and for the drivers up front, they are going to take us to the very end. But we'll see you on the other side in just a few moments. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Full Send Racing Series, your Tuesday night coverage of that of the Freaky Fast Broadcasting. You got myself, Sam Dyer, with me, with as well Trevor Earhart, Robin Warrior Junior Running Productions in the background. We also got to give some thanks to the sponsors out there for the Full Send Racing Series that allows them to put on the great show that we get to cover, starting off with the Lap Traffic Podcast. Hey, if you are finding yourselves in a little bit of a lull, you want to listen to a great podcast, well, go on, head over to the Lap Traffic Podcast. And as well, big thanks to ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Feel the sounds, not just hear the sounds. And as well, hey, you got your ButtKicker you need a rig to set it up with, go on and head over to Next Level Racing. Big thanks to those major sponsors that allows Full Send Racing Series to have us as a broadcast team, and well, gives great prizes to the drivers. As we are currently going to be finding ourselves 57 laps in of 100. There are no more stages to go, but there are some things the drivers are thinking about. Trevor, it's been a crazy run. Man, they are starting to think about the numbers moving forward.
Yeah, pit stops closing up here in the next, that of 7 to 8 laps for these guys. So some of these guys are definitely going to have to think about not only that, but everybody kind of spread back out. But our top three right on top of one another. Right behind them, you've got Altus, Zach Hall, Brian Wilson, Medlin trying to close in on this battle for the lead. But Sarton, once he was able to get around that of the 30 of Altus, doing a really good job. Got up to Christopher Wade, tried to get to his inside again here, trying to get to the inside. Just doesn't have that momentum off the corner to clear that 53.
They're not even clear just yet, but when we come to pit stops, that could be a way to finally clear themselves. But it just seems like Ken Campbell, Christopher Wade, they work with one another. I mean, Trevor, when you have a driver that's not officially under your banner as a teammate, but you've raced as teammates in other leagues, you've ran around one another, you kind of get that chemistry. I mean, how hard is it to kind of break away and realize, I know how to run around this guy, but maybe I should help other drivers for myself?
It's hard to do, especially when you get comfortable racing with somebody. And I know Ken and Christopher Wade are really comfortable racing around one another, so it makes it really hard to kind of make an aggressive move because you don't want to, ruffle any feathers there or make somebody mad. But at some point, you're going to kind of have to go for it because, like you said, he's not your teammate. Oh, the big wiggle from Brian Wilson in the 9 behind these guys saves it. But you got to make that move at some point, otherwise you're just going to be stuck running in second for the rest of the race.
And who, at the same time, Ken Campbell can duck out and try to work with his other teammates that are in this pack of 7. And a little bit of update on the 9. Saw him duck very low on the back stretch, just brushed the outside wall at the exit of 2. That forced the 9 down low, but still able to have momentum, not enough damage to make him lose the draft at this current moment. So we're on lap 60 of 100. We're just about that of a lap away from these drivers being in the clear to start their pit stops and could make it to the end of this race. But as the drivers settle in line, it's time for us to also settle in and talk about more of our amazing sponsors that we have here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Starting that off with the Admin Box. The Admin Box is a premium button box that allows drivers or race admins to have the power in their fingertips. It allows you to plug, set, and go to make sure that you've got whatever action key you want to your box. That allows you to throw a caution, clear black flags, or if you want to set up different actions as a driver, as that is to have your, take tires, take a fast repair, all those actions can be plugged, set, and allow you to be the best driver or admin out there today. And if you want to get yourself an admin box, remember to use our discount code FFB-box with 2 X's. As well, big thanks to that. Have you seen them be on our splash screens? That is going to be the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. The big reason why we got to be partnered up with them is because we're putting on a charity race for the Daytona 500, a full-length race, 500 miles. It's going to be February 11th. As in the chat, going to have our Discord link for you to donate. We are seeing the numbers coming in, and it still blows our mind up here in Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But also want to give a big thanks to everyone that's donated so far. And if you'd like to join, there's only just about 2 or 3 spots left to grab if you want to race. It is a $5 minimum to race in this charity event. So go ahead on over, and if you don't even feel like you're going to be able to race but still want to donate, the link is in the Discord as well. Big thanks to everyone who has helped us out, as it is time for the action to ramp up some more. And Trevor, we saw it there for a moment. Christopher Wade, Ken Campbell, they've been split up. Cameron Sarn setting up this run, as well as having Altus on his back bumper.
Sarton was finally able to get to the outside of Christopher Wade. And we heard Wade talk about it there at the stage break, saying you can defend on the outside, but once he got stuck on the inside line, we've seen it just get pinched off the corner A's. It can't quite carry that momentum in the 53 truck like he was able to earlier. It's starting to fall back now as he loses his spot to Zach Hall. And Andrew Medlin trying to follow his teammate now to the outside of the 53 machine.
Going to be on board the bright lime green 24, Cameron Sarton, Mickey Mouse, Disney machine, and Cameron Sarton hoping to find a way to get 5:15. At this moment, it just seems like it's a settling in time. The drivers about that of 4 to 5 laps away from making their pit stops, but they are in the window to make it from here. Now the question is, Trevor, who decides to go with the undercut, which is pitting sooner than everyone else? Who would decide to make that call?
That's going to be the interesting question. Maybe some of the guys further on back from, that of about 10th, to the back end of the field could come in and do that, as they're about, the gap to John Dart back just in 8th is about 2 seconds to that of our leader. So those guys could think about coming in, trying to utilize those fresh tires to close that gap, or maybe, build a little bit of a gap and then fall back into the draft and see if that helps them. But I think our leaders, you'll see them all kind of pit around the same time. Or maybe one of these guys decides to do the undercut to try to pull a gap out and get away from the gap.
Different strategies. I'm expecting teamwork, at least in that matter, seeing teammates coming together. The draft just seems way too powerful to give up, as one of our first drivers to hit pit road is one that's struggling. That's only back in 24th position. Cole Sacchetti hitting pit road. It's got to be a kind of a disheartening feeling for the 42, as other drivers thinking about, all right, do we come in now or later?
Yeah, for Cole Sacchetti, after he got in the outside wall, that truck has not been the same. Not sure if he got any damage in that big wreck with Philip Chavez and Travis Dart, but the 42 definitely has been hurting ever since. But right now, battle for the lead up front. Cameron Sarton, the inside of Ken Campbell down into turn number 1. Sarton going to try to use that inside line, dives it down, see if he'll pull a little bit of a slide job here out of turn number 2. But Campbell powers back by on the outside, gets tight.
Off the
Everybody
wall.
checks up.
And it's going to be seen that Josh Waltis gets into the back bumper, a little bit of shimmy, but they hold on for now. It's going to be 3 wide battling for 4th place. Andrew Medlin, Christopher Wade, all holding strong. Zach Hall trying to make the pass. And this is all around drivers calling their shots. They might be coming to pit road deeper in the field. And into pit road is going to be Josh Waltis.
Yeah, Altus just pulls out of there. Not sure if he got any damage from getting into the back of Ken Campbell, but Campbell gassed it up, tried to get that run to the outside of Sarton, then get tight. Almost, I'm not sure if he caught the wall a little bit, but great job from everybody there as they all scattered, not running over one another and causing a potential big wreck with our top 6.
I mean, that was shocking to see. I mean, I knew someone up there might be thinking about coming into pit road, but Altus was not the driver in my mind, I thought, at all. He never came over the radio, said he was coming into pit road. But this lap, it's Freaky Fast Racing that I'm hearing over the radio. Seems like this is the lap that they want to come into pit road together. Will Cameron Sarton, he's hearing all the sounds of pit road. And over the radio, the 24 makes the late call as they're coming into pit road.
Christopher Wade, into the wall, cautions out. The 53 machine just went straight into the wall in turn number 3 and comes to a stop. Not sure if there's a mechanical issue with maybe a steering wheel or something, but really odd incident there for the 53 Christopher Wade.
His tire blow? As the way that car broke is gonna be weird, as we're gonna be trying to get the replay for you. What brought out this yellow? The timing of the caution is perfect for some, terrible for others. But that wreck will cost Christopher Wade a required damage flag. He'll be coming into pit road 53. What was looking like a fabulous run, now going to be thrown out the window for any giant hopes for himself. But I mean, Trevor, one of those weirder accidents you don't expect to see. And just the way the 53 goes up, it looks like it could have been a tire just blowing up and him having zero control at this instant.
It looks like, and it's something, that we don't really talk a lot about in broadcasting, is these trucks, any of these cars can blow a tire. If you use too much tire wear and it hits 0%, they will blow a tire. And the 53 just right there was turning, and then just goes straight up the racetrack. So looks like that's exactly what happened to Christopher Wade. Just blows a right front tire and into the outside wall he goes.
And he was trying to turn after making the contact here. He locks it down. Main reason why he was trying to turn, and it was going completely straight. And so much damage and carnage to the 53 machine. These trucks, not as durable as other machines that we've seen before. As he locks it down, then gets rolling once he feels like there's enough drivers by, gets out of the way. A bizarre incident right when we're expecting drivers coming to pit road. And this is good for the rest of the field, that they can come in, take tires, feel like they're set and ready to go. And this does put the rest of the field in an interesting spot for some that have already pitted on if they're going to be deciding to stay out, or do they stay out on old tires or come in for fresh tires.
Yeah, really interesting call here. And I think some of the guys, were on pit road, maybe caught a lap down and going to have to take the wave around and go to the back of the field. I think the biggest biggest benefactor from all this is going to be that 30 truck of Joshua Altus. Sam, he was in that lead group, came down pit road about a lap before them, and might cycle out to the lead here.
He was currently in the lead, did not come into pit road, nor did that of Kyle Carpenter. They're both going to decide to stay out as the rest of the field comes into pit road, get their tires and fuel set up for themselves. Drivers are taking the wave around. That is everyone from about 17th on back, all deciding to come into pit, going to be deciding to stay out. They try to get a wave around to get back on the lead lap, which is going to be 17th all the way back to 23rd. That's Logan Key, Lyle Christensen, Jason Ferre, as well as Jonathan Woods, Doug Pierce, Cole Sacchetti, and Austin Call trying to get back onto the lead lap. And with all that switch up, it does force the drivers that were leading. Ken Campbell now going to be in 6th place. Zach Hall going to be back in that of 12th. That of Cameron Sarn, 11th place. Just a complete shift of where the drivers going to be placed, putting some fast machines back into the thick of traffic.
Yeah, Ken Campbell, been out front all day long in that 15 machine, so now we're going to have to deal with the dirty air, work his way back up through the field. Chris Stitz, after his couple of incidents that he's had, he's up there in the 7th. Ross Tatum, I mean, we talked about him, Sam, shortly after the stage break, and he's all the way up into that of 6th now. He was all the way back there in 20th. Nick Hollins up there, John Dart gains a couple of spots, so this just really shakes up our running order.
And now it's time to see how well they're going to run it, because the majority of the field, you saw it there for a quick second on our shot, the majority of the field is actually all on that inside lane. It's going to be interesting on this restart. Where do you and how do you get to the outside lane and try to make these passes, as the majority of that outside lane, there are only 4 drivers on the outside.
Yeah. Interesting to see why this is lining up this way. Just might be the way they came off the pit road, or how they picked up the pace cars. It looks like the 55 of Sam Siegel not working his way up there. Maybe they were waiting on Sam to get up there before they could all line up. This is going to be kind of a jumbled up restart, Sam. This could really make this thing exciting.
Drivers got to be careful not to run into one another, as we are now green for that of the Berserker Industries 200. It's going to be that of Joshua Altis, Kyle Carpenter, Brian Wilson, John Dart, Nick Holland, Ross Tatum, Chris Stitz back in the top 10, as well as S3 Siegel, Ryan Lynch. As everyone else that was leading this race at one moment, they're stuck behind our top 10.
Behind the top 10, and Ryan Lynch has a little bit of damage, so they're going to have to navigate the 3 machines. He gets a little bit loose in front of Ken Campbell, but he saves it. Campbell gets to his outside, follows that of Sam Siegel, but up front, Altus with a great jump over Kyle Carpenter. John Dart battling with Nick Holland, and that of Ross Tatum. They're trying to figure that battle out. 4th is, it's like Holland's going to dive into the inside of the 99 of John Dart. Stitz now going to look to the inside of Ross Tatum, as Tatum has a little bit of an internet issue, but Ken Campbell not wasting any time in that 15 machine, as he now goes to the outside of the 55 of Sam Siegel.
Yeah, that Ross Tatum machine is 21, has been drinking for the majority of the night. He's been stuck in the middle of around that of 13th to 14th position. Now instead of the top 10, he's hoping for a little bit of help in this action phase to go forward. But as well, starting to see some drivers trying to make their way forward. Ken Campbell now up to 9th, trying to make the pass on that of Chris Essery for 8th place in the 15. Seems to be the one driver that was in that coming into pit road when the yellow came out phase there. He's the only one that's really moving forward right now.
Yeah, kind of just left everybody else behind him. That of Cameron Sarton, Zach Hall, Andrew Medlin, Logan Keys, those guys just kind of left them behind. Is that of Campbell just trying to get to the front as quickly as possible. And I think Sarton and Zach and Medlin all kind of taking a little bit different approach, trying to save a little bit of tire here in the early going.
And also in this group, gotta keep our eyes out on the 17 of Chris Stitz. Every single time that we've had fresh tires, he's gotten loose, he's gotten contact, and he's made an incredible save. The 17 is down below where he's had issues, and he's hoping that they don't strike again. Chris Stitz up in sixth place.
Up in sixth place, but he's got a hard-charging Ken Campbell right behind him. Campbell looking to maybe go 3 wide down the front stretch, kind of gets covered off there. Stuck now behind the 21. Ross Tatum, as Campbell still tries to figure his way out through this field, but Kyle Carpenter now dives it to the inside of Joshua Altus for the lead out of turn number 2, but can't quite get that run cleared down the backstretch, and that's going to allow Brian Wilson in the 9 to close up as they continue to battle up front for the lead, but this battling back here for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th still going on.
They're stacking up, trying to figure out where to go, and it's going to be the 15, deciding, all right, well, that inside lane's not going as fast as I would like. Let's try the third lane out as Nick Holland bounces up into John Dart, as well as in front of them. It's going to be Altus brushing the outside wall. Couple of different incidences happen at the same time, but they all keep it straight, and it's Kyle Carpenter leading this race.
Kyle Carpenter the lead. Brian Wilson, though, thought about maybe diving it in, trying to get to the inside of the 77, but he's going to be stuck side by side with Altus there. A little bit of a wiggle from Chris Stitz as he tries to get to the inside of John Dart. Nick Holland trying to get cleared by that outside line. Dart's going to have a little bit of a push here from the 21 of Ross Tatum. Kim Campbell following right in suit, and Chris Essery kind of holding on to that draft, waiting to see what happens, if there's going to be any more contact in front of him.
Figure out where to place yourself going forward, especially on the notion of you got Joshua Altus on old tires than everyone else. You also got that Kyle Carpenter on old tires. Carpenter's got to be careful because once again, he's got diving it down low, hoping other drivers will follow in suit to go down to the apron. The 77, if he continues on that trend, we've already seen it go bad before where he got passed time after time after time. I'm surprised he hasn't figured it out. Maybe you shouldn't go down to the apron just yet.
Yeah, in the lead, it's not as bad. You can kind of break the draft away, but with the guys lining up behind you, that allows them to get a big run. And right there, again, the 30 of Altus dives to the inside after a run down the backstretch. He gets to the inside of the 77 of Carpenter. Carpenter going to see if he can get that run off the corner, but Altus with a great slide job as Carpenter's going to go for the crossover, but no, thinks better of it. Tucks in the line behind the 30 machine.
Going to be a lot of blocking going on with the 30 machine, and also some bump drafting from Carpenter. As John Dart trying to figure out where to place that 99. Also, Nick Holland. Holland showed that outside lane can be a strong suit if you want to go be making some big moves, but it seems like that at the 68. Gonna just stay low, in line, and picking what spot you want to be in. It's side by side, top 6. Gonna be picking what row you want to go with, and it seems like the outside lane much more preferred.
Yeah, outside line I think is where you're going to want to be right now. As Carpenter stuck on the bottom, Nick Holland on the bottom, Ross Tatum on the bottom, but a little bit of an internet issue there from the 30 of Altus, going to kind of scatter everybody as you see the 77 and 68 all the way down on the apron. Ross Tatum right down there on the white line, but the top 5 now on that outside line all nose to tail.
I'm just continuing trying to keep my eyes on the drivers that are in that 10th and 11th place. It's Cameron Sarn, Zach Hall, and Andrew Medlin as our leaders continue to duke it back and forth. But these drivers all trying to figure out where do you want to be moving forward, because due to the fact that we're seeing the drivers up front still side by side, using up those tires, trying to gain every position possible. This group behind, as we see our Andrew Medlin Cam, he is just sitting in wait. And it just seems like Zach, for Zach as well, for that of Andrew Medlin, from that of the Freaking Fast Racing team. They're doing the complete opposite of what their teammate Ken Campbell's doing, which is just sit and allow their teammate to go cause some chaos up front.
Yeah, it looks like they're just, biding their time as Medlin. A little bit of a little correction there, just showing, trying to move around a little bit in the corner, a little bit more correction there on corner exit, but following his teammate there, laser focused on what's ahead of him. And they've got a little bit of a help here. Chris Essery kind of, on the back of this lead group, not really up in it, is allowing that of Cameron Sarton to kind of gain a little bit of a draft help off of that 13 machine. So kind of bringing the 24 of Sarton, Zach, and Medlin all into the fold here if they keep battling up front.
Yeah, if they keep at this pace, they're going to get caught at some point. As leading this race right now, it's Nick Holland, who just put down the fastest laps of the race. He gets some clean air, and the 68 is flying at this moment. but every time you put down a fast lap, you got to be considerate on the fact that we still have over 20 laps to go. There's still a long way to go in this race before we're done. I think that's why I'm liking the strategy from that of 10th and 11th and 12th of Sartin, Hall, Medlin. Take it easy and be able to be far enough back that you can react on attack mode if you need to go forward and make some passes, or passive mode if you're seeing contact is a little bit of a wobble. That Wilson's going to drop down, get into Stitz. They somehow keep it straight, but small little mistakes and a little bit of lack of focus seems to be showing up front.
Yeah, Stitz went for a gap there, 3 wide with John Dart and Brian Wilson that really wasn't there, and Wilson kind of made a little bit of contact with the front end of the 17 of Stitz, and that could have been a big wreck, but a great save from everybody in Stitz again. Really just having to save that truck as he now tries to recollect himself. Campbell almost gets into the back of the 9 of Brian Wilson on corner entry into 3, and it's starting to kick off up here for the 5th position.
Brian Wilson, I think he might have actually hit that outside wall a little bit harder than expected. He seems to be having some right side damage on that entry, and he has collected some right side damage. It is scrubbed off, it is scraped, and for Ken Campbell, he's got to be carrying it and hope of really taking in those blessings that he's still running, and that could have been a lot worse with the contact.
Yeah, that could have been a huge wreck down the front stretch with those 3, especially how, bunched up everybody was right behind him. That could have been massive for Ken Campbell. Now as he looks to the inside of Brian Wilson down here, down the backstretch, Wilson another big wiggle on corner entry, gets into the outside wall, and that 9 machine just really starting to struggle. He's going to have more right side damage now that he has to do it.
It's just getting worse and worse on the entries for that of Brian Wilson, but now also the exits are causing drivers to overreact as that Ross Tatum has to duck it down low. The 21 continues to blink, and we've seen Altis as well as Ross Tatum. I mean, Trevor, you do not like to see one driver having internet issues. Having 2, it's going to make making the passes for the drivers inside of our top 6 very difficult.
Makes it difficult, because especially on corner exits, Wilson again with a big moment at turn number 2. I think the rear tires on that 9 machine are screaming that he might need some new ones here as he's wiggling down the backstretch, but makes it difficult on corner exit when the truck, underneath you or beside you disappears, and you kind of got to guess where they're going to come back at. So just something that these guys got to be careful is we've got a slow truck of the 1 of Will Bustler on the apron there, and that's going to bring out a caution.
Caution flag out. And a bizarre moment, Will Bustler staying low and was slow. And I believe his engine might have blown on the backstretch, and it cost him. He could not. Yeah, engine blew up on the backstretch, looked back at it, and he was coasting his way to pit road. And Auto Club, it's kind of weird on the fact there are some tracks where it has to be on the racing surface. When drivers are sideways with oncoming traffic, it will throw a yellow flag or completely stop on the racing surface. Usually when you're on the apron or in the grass, no yellow flag will be thrown. This time, the 1 was on the apron. He was off the racing surface, but iRacing deemed that is too close to oncoming traffic. We're going to throw a yellow for that incident.
Yeah, and Bustler, just trying to get as many laps in as he can, was caught up in that wreck with Philip Chavez and Travis Dart on the backstretch after the stage break, and eventually that motor, the front end damaged a little bit too much, got a little too hot, and that motor decided to leave the racetrack, and unfortunately for Bustler, couldn't quite make it around. But Sam, this is going to bring everybody down pit road with about 15 laps to go in this race. This could get really interesting here once we get going back green.
It really could, because we've seen a lot of troublesome spots happen with fresh tires. And for some of these drivers, this is going to be some their last set. Others, they're going to have 1 more set to still work with for the end of this race. So it's time to see what you've got with this pit stop. Do not slide. Do not make any mistakes. And hope that you gain some positions as everyone into pit road. 4 tires and fuel. But Trevor, could someone be risky enough to take 2 tires, or do you think that's just a little bit too risky to take?
I was just thinking that if somebody decided to take 2, it'd be good for the track position, but it looks like everybody's so far going with 4 tires, as it looks like the 30 of Altis is going to get the win the battle off pit road, followed by John Dart, Kyle Carpenter, Nick Holland, and then Ken Campbell's going to come out in 5th. So everybody looks like they're going to go ahead and take 4 tires here just to play it safe with on this round of pit stops.
Everyone taking it safe and easy as out of pit road going to be Joshua Altis, but man, John Dart, I mean, what else can we say about this driver right now? What a run for this 99 machine.
Yeah, and he's shown speed. I mean, showed speed last season in the Xfinity car, showed speed at a couple of races this season. Last week at Bristol, just hasn't got the finishes that he's, felt like he probably deserved. Got caught up in a couple of wrecks last week at Bristol, but having a great run here for himself up into second place is that 99 machine. So interesting. It would be interesting to see what he's going to be able to do here on this restart.
It really would be, and hey, why not ask him? We're going to be bringing up the 99 up into the booth as drivers getting set up on where they want to be on track, and the 99 certainly has been putting out a show, and we bring him up in the booth. John, it's Sam and Trevor up in the booth. You got us?
Yep, I'm here.
Well, John, I mean, what a run for yourself. You're up to second place. We're going to be less than 15 laps to go when we go green. How are you feeling with the confidence level to come away with a potential win here tonight?
Still 15 laps to go. Anything can happen. Need a lot of draft. Need to try to save tires. It's real sketchy on the first lap, so gotta hope I don't spin it out.
John, we've seen some of the teammates work together. I mean, is there anybody up here in the top 5, top 10 that you might think about kind of getting a little bit of draft help with in these last 15 laps or so, or is it going to be every man for himself?
It's going to be every man for themselves. Everyone's just trying to get the best run going with whoever's making the move, and it's a big scramble. I don't even know if teammates are going to be able to work with each other.
Well, John, we'll let you focus up as we're about to get back to Green Flag Racing, but good luck, and hopefully we'll be talking to you later tonight.
Yep, thank you.
As that is going to be John Dart trying his best to get himself into victory lane. One of the best runs that he's had all season long. Coming in tonight, John Dart comes in 26th in points out of the 31 drivers that have raced in this season. Poor finishes have been the case for the 99 in the early portions, but here for race number 4, he certainly is hoping for a fabulous run. Second place for the 99, but he's got Joshua Altis, who's filling in for the second race in a row. He's hoping to cause a miracle to happen. This 30 machine is fast, and he's got to be worrying about also other drivers behind. It's going to be less than 15 laps to go for the Berserker Industries 200 here at Auto Club. We're green, and a little bit of contact with John coming down early.
Yeah, John trying to come down, cover off the 77 of Carpenter. Carpenter not really going to allow John to do that, but John forces John wide into turn number 1. They're going to be 3 wide here for third with Ken Campbell to the inside. Nick Holland gets loose. He gets turned by Chris. It's the wreck.
Holland still, it's going to be Carrot Sword in a melee of drivers on the exit of the corner. Everyone's scattering where to go. They're not able to. Zach Hall as well as the 13. Contact with one another.
Oh, carnage out of turn number 2 again. Sam, cold tires causes more chaos here on the restart. A lot of heavy hitters taken out in this wreck.
And you hate to see the driver that was around that catalyst, the 17, just got a better run, it seemed like, than that of Nick Holland, and it just caused the melee to go crazy here as get our replay set up and ready to go. I mean, Trevor, late race, drivers are using cold tires. I'm not surprised by this, especially with everyone recognizing it's time to go.
Yeah, it's go time. You can't really save as much tire as you would like, and I think Holland just got loose, and the 17 of Stitch had such a good run, gets into the back of him, and everybody trying to save and scramble causes more chaos. We saw Sarton involved, Zach Hall involved, of course, Stitz, Holland, who was having a great run for himself, all involved as we're waiting on the replay to come up and see what happens exactly here out of turn number 2.
Watch the 68. He's just going to be getting a little bit loose, but at the same time, the 17 behind him is going to get back into the throttle way sooner, already kicking out loose at this point. Stitz is going to be getting back into the throttle. Contact's going to be made. And at this point, the rest of the field is trying to be reactionary. Both drivers get sideways. And Trevor, at this point, it's just survival. I mean, Cameron Sarn, just the most unlucky victim. We talked about that inside lane. That's kind of what it turns into. And then everyone else just piling in more and more.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Medlin has a lot of damage on his machine. I think he might have made it through, but Zach Hall right here, thinking he's got this wreck cleared, and then gets collected, not sure by who. It looks like the 13 of Chris Essery, just nowhere for the 13 to go. So he was trying to save that truck, had it locked down, and Zach Hall just nowhere to go. Thought you had the right line pick, but one of the other trucks involved in the wreck comes down and collects you. It's got to be heartbreaking for that 32 machine.
And with all of that, drivers with required damage currently in pit road getting those damage repairs going to be Will Bustler, who is had a blown engine from earlier wrecks, but joining that one machine, got to be Chris Chavez-Essery, as well as Andrew Medlin and Zach Hall, all with required damage for themselves. Other drivers into pit road, Cameron Sarton getting optional damage done, as well as plenty of others deciding to get their repairs underway. And Trevor, it's now going to be less than 10 laps to go. They really didn't get much green flag action on these tires, which means we're going to have another attempt with some cold rubber on a very hot track.
With a corner and a half, I don't think we've got really any heat built into these tires, and that restart was with 15 laps to go. This restart's going to be with about that of 8 to 9, maybe 10 laps to go when we get this race restarted. So it's going to be equally as I think chaotic as that last restart, as everybody's going to try to get any little bit of positioning that they can, and very well potential for another big wreck.
Big wreck, big carnage, and anything can go at this point, and I don't even know what to look for at this point. I mean, we've got drivers up here in the top 10 that we haven't really talked about, or we've periodically touched on them having good runs earlier in the race, then they fell off on the long run. They've looked good in the short runs, and some of those drivers, I mean, Joshua Altus, that a Carpenter, they've been up front for the majority of this race, but Joshua Altus started in last place. He had a great job driving through this field. John Dart having his best run so far this season. Ken Campbell, he's been the driver to beat here tonight. Ross Tatum, last year's champ, he has not really been a force to watch out for, but he's put himself in a position for a great finish. Then you also look at that of Brian Wilson, the rookie who's been getting more and more damage on that right side, but somehow still chugging along. And then you've got the two of Jonathan Woods. He was caught up in earlier wrecks. He's been practically battling for last place. He's up here in top 10. You've got that of Doug Pierce, Sam Siegel. Cole Sacchetti was out of this race earlier on. He's up in the top 10. And Logan Keys just outside. He qualified second. How will the 43 react here on this run? Let's find out. It's going to be 10 laps to go here at Auto Club. The Full Send Racing Series, the name fits. A lot of drivers are going to be sending it in every corner possible to get up front, and there's still a chance. Anyone in this race, practically, if you got a clean truck, can win here tonight. Let's find out how it goes. We're green for the Berserker Industries 200 once again.
And it's a great jump there from Joshua Altus in the 30 machine. They're scattering behind Wilson with a bad start. That's going to allow Jonathan Woods to get to his inside. They're 3 wide going into turn number 1 with Sam Siegel in the 55. They try to sort that out up front. John Dart, though, stuck on the bottom. That's going to allow Carpenter and Campbell to his outside, as he's going to lose a couple positions out of turn number 2.
As well as other drivers going to be beating and banging. It's going to be Doug Pierce coming up into camp. That of Cameron Cole Sacchetti. Oh no! Sam Siegel going to be bouncing on the inside. The 55 goes spinning around. We stay green, as well as other drivers. It's going to be Nick Gould who's going to go backwards. We keep it green as there's no more oncoming traffic for the 55 machine to worry about. It's up front. Drivers trying to hold on as Jonathan Woods getting loose out of 4, but somehow sticks the landing. And with that of 9 laps to go, we continue to stay green.
That really allowed the top 5 to break away, as they're now about a second, maybe 2 seconds clear of that of Logan Keys, as they're going to battle it out for himself as Ross Tatum gets loose. He's got John Dart behind him. Campbell was a little bit loose trying to get to the inside of Joshua Altus, but in all that chaos and calamity, the 77 of Kyle Carpenter was able to take the lead away.
He's able to take the lead away, but for how long? Ken Campbell, who's been very aggressive on new tires, willing to bounce it to the outside. The 15 hoping to get the lead. He's now up to second place, recognizing with 8 laps to go here tonight, it's no longer save those tires. It's get up front, get the clean air, and defend that outside lane.
And Campbell takes it right to the bottom of Kyle Carpenter, going to try to dive it all the way down, see if he can slide up in front of that 77 machine. Gets a little bit loose, though, in the center of the corner. That's going to allow Carpenter to drive almost to the outside. He makes contact. Campbell hard into the wall.
Outside wall, he's going to be going backwards, and over the radio, Kyle Carpenter apologizing, but it doesn't matter on any of the apologies because he is going backwards. Campbell is losing the draft. He looks absolutely wounded, and it's now 4 drivers hunting for a chance to win. It's Carpenter, Altus, Ross Tatum. 2 of these 4 are blinking, and it's John Dart who's centering himself in the back, just waiting to figure out a pounce.
Yeah, John Dart just waiting to see what can happen, as he's got Ross Tatum blinking to his inside. He's got Joshua Altus, who's battling for the lead, blinking a little bit. And Carpenter now trying to defend from the 30 machine. What started all that was just a crossover move that wasn't quite cleared on the 15 to Ken Campbell that sent Campbell into the outside wall in the backstretch. But Carpenter now still trying to defend that lead spot as Altus tries to do a little bit of side draft on quarter entry, but dives it to the inside. He's got the 99 for a little bit of draft help here, maybe down the front stretch, but Carpenter again going to try to defend that on the exit of turn number 4.
I mean, Joshua Altus, he won this race last season due to that of dealing with great fuel mileage, great tire strategy calls, and now he's also going to have that of Kyle Carpenter, who's outside the 77, opening for a good run. But the veterans of this lead pack, it's John Dart, looking for his first ever win in the Full Send Racing Series. In third place, 6 to go, the 99. He is trying to put himself up front, but the only problem here, Trevor, the 99, we have not seen him lead this race just yet.
Hasn't been able to get to the front just yet. He's battled up there for the lead a couple of times, just hasn't been able to clear that lead spot and get to the front of the field, but holding on strong here in third. He's got a little bit of help right behind him in that of last season's champ, Ross Tatum, in the 21, the man who we hadn't seen much of until after the stage break, now up here trying to figure out if he can win, but he's dealing with a little bit of internet issues. The fill-in driver, Joshua Altus, filling in for Charles Hugel here, trying to get to the back to the lead, and he's going to go for the slide job on the 77 machine of Carpenter. Carpenter not quite going to be able to do the crossover move here because he's got the 99 of John Dart to his inside.
John Dart's going to be trying to get to that quarter panel. If he can somehow get there, he can force the issue and needs just a little bit more draft assistance. But it seems like on the straightaways, no one is willing to work with the 99 as John Dart continues the hold and linger, the battle for second. It's the two drivers that have never won in this series, while they're being sandwiched by the two drivers that have won. And they've also got last season's champion of the 21, Ross Tatum, just trying to figure out where to place himself. He hasn't even been up in the top 5 all race long for that of the 21.
Hasn't been up in the top 5, but here he is with a possible chance to win it as 3 distinct grooves there. John Dart all the way to the bottom. Carpenter in the middle. Tatum to the outside, but Tatum now going to fall in behind the 77, give him a big shove down the backstretch, and John Dart's going to be the man all by himself on the inside here. But again, going to have a little bit of a look. Carpenter took a half-hearted look to the inside of the 30. He's going to get tight now. That's going to allow Ross Tatum to get to his outside. They're going to be 3 wide off at turn number 4.
3 wide. You got to make that rear end for the 30 machine as wide as possible as he's trying to block every single lane. 3 to go here tonight for that of the Berserker Industries 200. Can they keep it clean and green with how aggressive these drivers are about to turn this into? As Ross Tatum, he's blinking, but he's to the outside of the 30 machine, or was he for just a blink of a second? But sliding up was that of Altus. Now John Dart's going to duck it to the inside. Just not enough speed, not enough help. They need all the help that they can right now, but with just 4 trucks, Trevor, just doesn't seem like anyone can get by this 30 machine just yet.
It's not a lot of help out back to really get that draft assistance. As Carpenter gets loose out of turn number 4, he's going to go all the way to the apron here again, but that's going to allow John Dart now to close it in on the 21 of Ross Tatum. But Altus here, I think he might be in a good spot as these guys aren't really going to have that draft help down the backstretch or the front stretch to really get around him. But Ross Tatum, he's going to look to the outside of that 30 machine, try to get the run out of turn number 2 down the backstretch.
Gonna be trying to go for the slide job move, hoping that he's clear, and you're really not sure. You got the 2 drivers that have been blinking all night long, 1, 2, and that puts John Dart as well as Carpenter in a very tricky situation because you have just no idea where they're actually gonna be with all the blinking action. 2 to go, coming out turn number 4. They're hoping for the white flag, and it will make this race official, and anything goes. The gloves will be off, and it's time to see who's winning the Berserker Industry 200. A little bit of contact. The freaky fast white flag is out. To the outside, it's Ross Tatum. He's got the quarter middle. He spins Altus. Altus goes around. Ross Tatum's going to be taking the lead. Here comes John Dart on the outside. Dart has the momentum. He has the positioning. The 99 takes the lead for now.
John Dart with a good run down the backstretch. He's got drafting help from the 77 of Carpenter. Ross Tatum nowhere. Not with the draft help down the backstretch. He's going to lose time. It's going to be a 2-horse battle out of turn number 3. And it's going to be John Dart diving or trying to defend the 77 of Carpenter. Carpenter sends everything he has. He's not going to have enough. It's going to be John Dart out of turn number 4.
On Dart, trying to hold on. Here comes a light dive to the inside. It's not enough. John Dart, a first-time winner of the Full Send Racing Series for the veteran.
What a finish we just had here tonight. John Dart, out of nowhere, comes across to win the race. Kyle Carpenter gets second. Ross Tatum, after the contact with the 30 of Joshua Altus, comes home third. And Sam, what a finish, what a race we had here tonight at Auto Club.
John Dart comes into the night 26th in points out of 31 drivers, and it just takes one win, and he is locked into the playoffs, the 99. What an absolute, I mean, he placed himself in the perfect position. It was aggressive driving from the two favorites, and all that it does is just wipe away their chances. John Dart had the best run, puts himself up front, and the 99 wins. One of the most unpredictable drivers probably going to pick here tonight. Had a fabulous qualifying run in 8th, and he wins here tonight.
I mean, perfect placement going into turn number 1 to avoid the spinning 30 machine and have the momentum out of turn number 2 to get around that of Ross Tatum. I mean, what a finish, what a story. And John Dart celebrating all the way down the backstretch here, coming back around to hopefully burn it down. Well-deserved win for that 99 machine here tonight.
I don't even know if he knows what to do right now. He's just racing around. I mean, he's got so much jitters in him. One of the most unlikeliest heroes to think of. He's just going to wreck it and have some fun sending it over, grinding it over pit road. And that's the way you're going to celebrate it. That's fine, because that 99, it doesn't matter where it lies. He is the winner here tonight. And we have to talk to that man here in just a few moments. John Dart, winner. We'll be back in just a few moments for the post-race show. I mean, we're still in shock up here in the booth. Welcome to the post-race show from Freaky Fast Broadcasting for the Full Send Racing Series. My name is Sam Dyer. We got Trevor Earhart with us, as well as Robert Moyer Jr. running productions in the background. What a race, 100 laps, and it came down to 4 unlikely heroes at the end. And it was one that we never could have thought. John Dart, who had not finished a single race this season, comes away with victory lane. And just a wild, unpredictable night brings up the 99 to victory lane. John, we got to talk to you wondering how you were feeling with about 10 laps to go. Well, you're now in victory lane. How are you feeling now?
A little better, a little relieved that I didn't get caught up in all the instances in the last about 12 laps.
I mean, John, we saw it last season. We've seen it this season. You've had speed just been, like you said, caught up in wrecks. I mean, this has got to feel like the weight's lifted off your shoulders. You're locked into the playoffs. I mean, how are you feeling now going into the rest of the season?
Like I said, I feel relieved because I haven't finished a race this season yet. For the first 3 races, I finished in the pits every time, and finally got to finish the race and got a win here.
We just saw it in the chat of, hearing from Travis how you were thinking about quitting. Are you thinking about quitting now after this win?
I wasn't thinking about quitting. I was just pissed off.
Well, we're just happy that you were able to finally turn things around here, John. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Shout out to my team, Sam, Cam, Charles, who couldn't make it, so we had Altice fill in for him tonight. Shout out to my mom for watching. Shout out to my girlfriend for probably not watching. And yeah, hope it was a good showing tonight.
It was a blast for us to cover. That's going to be John Zart coming away for the 99, winning here at Auto Club. Congratulations and good luck at Eldora next week.
Thanks, y'all. Have a good night.
As we go from second place, from victory lane, we head to second place to that of Kyle Carpenter, another driver that tried to get themselves into victory lane, tried to get their first win in this series. Kyle, it's Sam and Trevor up the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, you almost came away with the win here tonight. You were fighting a climb for every chance to get that lead position. But, man, how are you feeling coming away with a second-place finish?
I'm feeling pretty good. I don't, feel too good about taking out the 15 right there at the end. Just hard racing at the end. I felt like he was sliding up. I didn't want to get squeezed into the wall there, and decided to come down and just clipped him as I come down, and he went up and hit the wall. But I hate it for him. Try to apologize and stuff. We'll see how that goes. But pretty good. My heart's beating out of my chest. It was a good, fun battle there to the end.
Kyle, I got to ask, we saw it all night long, especially on the front stretch. You were one of the few drivers that would go all the way down to the apron, especially by yourself. Any particular reason for that, or just trying to get away from the draft and stay clean?
Yeah, pretty much. There's not too much of a reason to. I mean, either on the apron or right next to it. You do get away from the side draft. It might help, cut the course just that little bit. It's that little bit less track you have to go down, but there's not really too much of a benefit. But that's just how I run Auto Club too.
Well, Kyle, we still got a lot of racing going on this season, but we're going to probably one of the most unique tracks of the season. We're going dirt track racing at Eldora. How are you feeling confidence-wise after tonight's performance, heading to Eldora next week?
I feel pretty good being able to run up near, somewhere near the front, tonight. And next week's going to be completely different being on dirt. It's, hard to tell which way it's going to go. I'd say I'm decent on dirt, but I don't know if I'm that good at it. So, we'll just see how it goes.
Well, before we let you go, Kyle, we got to give the floor to you for any other shout-outs that you have.
Just to Berserker Industries for sponsoring the race. Appreciate them. And just to you guys for up here in the booth, and Travis putting on the lead.
Well, thank you for giving us a great show to cover. That is going to be the 77 of Kyle Carpenter. Congratulations on second place, and good luck next week.
Thanks.
As we go from second place, we head to third place for our spotlight driver, because we got to get the thoughts on how all these drivers were feeling for themselves as we bring in the 21 of Ross Tatum. Ross, I mean, we had to bring you in. You were battling hard up front. Those top 4 drivers were putting on a show. But, man, how are you feeling coming away with third place finish?
I feel pretty good, I guess. I feel bad that I guess me and Josh got together right there. I thought I was to his outside, but maybe I wasn't. I don't know. Maybe we just came together right there. But all in all, it was a good race. Hopefully I have good enough internet for you guys to hear me nice and clear. But yeah, it was just it was a tough race. Had a lot of issues all race long. So to get a third feels pretty good. Still a little short, but maybe one day I'll get a win in this series.
I mean, Ross, you come up short a few times this season, but I mean, pretty consistent so far to start the season. We go dirt track racing next week at Eldora. I mean, how are you feeling going from, a big kind of super speedway track like Auto Club to the dirt of Eldora?
I ran a few practice races, but in all honesty, if I blink out next week and disconnect, I wouldn't mind either. That race is going to be awful. It's going to be a lot of cautions. It's going to be I don't know. We'll see. It might be fun, but it's gonna be a wild one for sure.
Certainly a lot of unknowns heading into next week, but Ross, congratulations on another great finish for yourself here tonight. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Thanks, guys. I got to thank Coca-Cola for paying all my bills. Got to thank CenturyLink for this wonderful internet I have every single night. I got to thank you guys at Freaky Fast. You guys are the best. Sorry I'm not in a better mood tonight. Just a trying night for sure, but you guys are the absolute best. Can't wait till the charity race in a couple weeks. Got to thank all the sponsors of Full Send, Next Level Racing, and Lap Traffic Podcast and ButtKicker, all those guys that make this happen. It's much appreciated. And just all the people that watch and all the league admins, and try to go get them next week in the dirt.
That is going to be the 21 machine of Ross Tatum. Congratulations with third place and good luck next week.
Thanks, guys.
As we go from our spotlight driver, we head over to see our unofficial results, because tonight, I mean, we had big wrecks at moments that took out favorites. We had some scraps there at the end. And what's crazy was the unknown of the 99, a great qualifying run. We thought, hey, maybe qualifying in the top 10, just finish up in the top 10 would be a crazy feat to get, but it's victory lane for that John Dart. Incredible to see for himself. But then it's going to be Kyle Carpenter with a great run for the 77. Ross Tatum, who has just been the most consistent driver in and out of every race we go to, but yet to find it into victory lane, is last season's champion in third place. Logan Keys, what a recovery run for this 43, caught up in a wreck earlier on, lost a lot of momentum, but comes away with a fourth place finish. Nick Holland in fifth. Austin Call, who we haven't talked about that often here tonight, he was caught up in some incidences in those first 20 laps of this race, able to recover. Chris Stitz, how was the 17 still running? I don't know the amount of saves that he had. He had too many to count and was caught up in some wrecks as well. Comes away with 7th. Jonathan Woods caught up in a lot of wrecks. He comes away with 8th. Jason Foray, how did they come away with the 9th place finish? It's just, you look at the field as well as Cole Sacchetti coming in 10th. I mean, Trevor, it's just a lot of stories of how did they survive and get to this point? And you look deeper in the field and it's kind of the opposite of, man, how did they not finish up front?
Yeah, the tale of basically two halves of the field, guys who survived and guys who didn't. Like you mentioned, Jonathan Woods got caught up in that lap 4 incident and was able to recover to an 8th place. Jason Foray, I don't think we talked about the 118 at all tonight. He's up there in the top 10. Cole Sacchetti was back there in dead last at one point. He recovers. Doug Pierce with a great run for himself just outside the top 10. But then down the field, Ken Campbell, after the contact with Kyle Carpenter down in 15th, Cameron Sarton caught up in the wreck, I believe, with Chris Stitz and Nick Holland, along with Andrew Medlin, Zach Hall, all down there. Chris Essery was up in the top 10, top 5 for a little bit, caught up in a wreck. Stenhoff, I mean, he was up in the top 5 at one point, down there in 25th. Christopher Wade, our stage winner, all the way down there in 27th. Travis Dart, after the stage break incident, down there in 29th. I mean, it was just crazy. Guys that were up front, down, finishing down here outside the top 20, guys that we didn't talk about all night up into the top 10, top 15. What a wild race here tonight. And just think, we get to go to the dirt track next week at Eldora, where who knows what's going to happen there.
Yeah, drivers have been notified due to the fact that this past week on iRacing officials, trucks were at Eldora to run as many official races as you could to get practice. I know some drivers did, and it didn't bring up their hopes anymore after running those tracks. It is a difficult craft of dirt racing with these trucks. We'll see who's put in the practice and who is just winging it once we get to next week. But for this week, we still got plenty of coverage on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Tomorrow night, it is the Wicked Racing League. They're heading to that in New Hampshire, and it's going to be a big race for drivers to show up for. There's $100 on the line, and there's big name driver that actually has just signed up for for Wicked. We'll see if they can show up tomorrow night as well. As on Thursday night, it's going to be Stars and Stripes. They are heading in the ARCA cars to that of Miami for Homestead. Certainly should be some great racing action. I know for that of next week, we have Monday off for that of the ISRC Truck Series as they're trying to recoup after some of the most dramatic races that they've had the last couple of weeks. But for these drivers, next week, Trevor, Eldora certainly should be a blast to cover.
That's going to be a blast. I mean, the last 3 weeks, pretty much the whole season. But I mean, you go from Bristol, we had a great race there, to the just craziness, unbelievable finish that we had here tonight. And then Eldora next week. I can't wait to get there and see what's going to happen and what storylines we're going to see coming out of that track after the race.
I mean, for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, I think half the races we've covered this month, we've seen first-time winners in leagues that have been hunting for their first wins and have been veterans of their series. Another veteran gets it done with that of John Dark. Congratulations, this 99. And for us here tonight, thank you for watching and staying with us Tuesday evening for that of the Full Send Racing Series. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Trevor Earhart, for Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you for spending your time. We'll see you at our next broadcast. Tomorrow night, it's Wicked Racing League, the Next Gens at New Hampshire. We'll see you then.